Yo, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another reaction video. Look who is back at practice. Joe Burrow, you feel me? Hey, you know what I'm saying? As a Baltimore Ravens fan, I did low-key miss Joe Burrow last year, you know. And I feel like I said before, I feel like the Bengals would have easily made the playoffs if he would have never gotten hurt and shit like that. But let's go ahead and check this out. Back throwing for the first time since his wrist surgery.
To repair a torn ligament in his right wrist. And we will hear from some of his teammates. We've heard already that he has been ripping it down the field in practice. Now let's hear from Burrow about how he's feeling after Tuesday's session.
It looks like he hasn't missed a step with his throwing motion.
Get as many reps as I can with the guys. I'm going to be smart about it. You know, if I need a break, I need a break. The wrist has good days and bad days, just like the knee did.
This shit took his fucking helmet off.
Pretty early. We still got to wait.
I mean, not his helmet, his fucking hat. My bad.
Make sure that we give it the
I'm a little tired, bro.
that it needs. We're going to be smart about it.
Don't mind me.
You know, we're getting through it and continuing to improve, you know, mentally and physically every day.
Okay. Hey, keep a good mindset, bro. I don't know why I thought that was actually Joe Burrow standing right there. That shit tripped me out.
In addition to that torn wrist ligament
damn, bro.
in 2023, there was also the torn ACL in 2020. He then missed the final game of the 2021 season with a knee injury, but he did say that he would have been able to play through it if the Bengals had.
But they did go to the Super Bowl that year, so you know.
With you. That was a really honest answer from Joe Burrow, who isn't claiming to be at 100% full health just yet, and that he's anticipating he may have some good days and have some not so good days when he's throwing. What is the latest you're hearing on Burrow's recovery?
And then, like, again, like what I saw with his throwing motion. Let's go back to that.
We give it the break.
Oh, let's go back.
On the Bengals practice field, since he underwent surgery to repair a torn
So like, one of these throws,
and we will hear
you can tell he's not showing full strength yet.
He has been ripping it down the field in practice. Now let's hear from
But hey, bro,
how he's feeling.
I feel like Joe Burrow's not gonna miss a step. Not even gonna lie to you, bro.
Yeah, those linebackers, the guys in the trenches, Tim, don't necessarily need the mobility that Joe Burrow has to have as a quarterback. So a little bit different approach he's had to take here in order to find out how this recovery is going to look for him and how different it might be for other football players who have had the same injury. What are you expecting as far as what it's going to look like when he's back on the field, and what the timeline for this bounce back is going to be?
You know what's funny is look, what I expect, Courtney, I think is what a lot of people expect, is that Joe Burrow is going to be the same old Joe Burrow, because if he is healthy, he's going to be one of the best quarterbacks in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
He's got plenty of talent around him.
Easily top 3, bro.
Outstanding season. I think the question ends up being, is my expectation and everybody else's expectation of guys just bounce back from injuries like this. I think sometimes we maybe take it for granted for, you know, what it actually is. And I think that Joe, as Jeff kind of pointed out, has kind of given us a glimpse into, you know, the challenge that he's facing. And maybe he doesn't even really know the timeline. And that, look, some days he maybe feels great, and other days.
I mean, as long as there's no setbacks and shit with Burrow, I think he's definitely gonna start week 1. But like, you never know, bro. You know what I'm saying? With training camp, rolling around,
a little bit like uncharted territory, because there aren't a bunch of.
But like, would you say that Joe Burrow is injury prone, bro? Because I'll tell you this. Okay, so his rookie year, you know what I'm saying, obviously the torn ACL, then 2021 with the knee or whatever, and then 2020, was it 2022? Did he miss time in 2022? I'm not sure as well. 2023, he had the injury at the start of, you know what I'm saying, the year and shit, the start of his training camp, and then, you know what I'm saying, the wrist surgery and shit that he had to go through last year. You know, I just hope he can stay healthy, bro. I hope injuries aren't really gonna ruin his career. But
quarterbacks that have gone through it, where you kind of have a roadmap for what the return will look like. And so I think in that regard, I think Cincinnati's going to have to be fairly flexible with him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for every NFL,
and don't push him too hard to his first couple weeks back or days or whatever.
Not being at full strength, and that's something that Joe Burrow
gotta ease back into it
routinely. But the reality is, the ceiling for the Cincinnati Bengals is predicated on how quickly he can feel healthy, because as a quarterback, when you have to take in all the factors and you are the one who has to think the most, it is very tough to add an injury
bro.
as something that you need to be considering in the midst of your
I mean,
play.
that's kind of sad. You saw how when he tried to throw the ball, he couldn't throw that shit, bro.
Think the most. It is
Like,
very tough to add an injury
damn.
as something that you need to be considering in the midst of your play. That's why people who play through injuries the best are typically the ones at the positions who don't have to do as much thinking. So for Joe Burrow, as soon as he can get comfortable, that's when you'll see him at his best. And the Cincinnati Bengals need it because he is the key to their success and what their ceiling is, to Tim's point.
The vast majority of the Bengals roster was present on Tuesday at OTAs as Joe Burrow got back to work. Notably absent was defensive end Trey Hendrickson.
Yeah, didn't he request a trade?
Receivers Jamar Chase and T. Higgins. Joe Burrow addressed the trade request made by both Higgins and Hendrickson this offseason.
Uh-oh. Let's see what he's talking about.
You know, those guys have their business that they need to take care of. I support them in every way. You know, both those guys have earned everything that's come to them and more. So I'll support them all the way through it. Whatever they feel like is best for their career, that's for them and their agents and their families to decide. But we're here to win football games. I really hope both those guys are here with us next year because we're a better football team with both of them.
I highly doubt Higgins is going to be here next year.
They're going to do what they got to do, but when the time comes for them to come back, if that time comes, we're going to welcome them back and hit our stride.
So the Bengals entered the offseason with a boatload of salary cap space and some major business to get done, too. Jeff, where do things stand right now with the Bengals and Burrow's top two targets, Higgins and Jamar Chase, who we know they picked up his fifth-year option, and now he's eligible for a contract extension this offseason?
Well, you mentioned it. First of all, $21.8 million is what T. Higgins will earn this year on that franchise tag. He is the peculiar one because, quite frankly, the team's priority is Jamar Chase when it comes to the long-term stability.
Yeah.
They do want both players back. And
It's definitely gonna be hard to bring both of them back because both of them deserve to be paid big money, and they don't have that much of cap space to pay both of them huge money along with Joe Burrow's contract as well. So one of them is gonna have to go, and unfortunately that's gonna have to be T. Higgins because obviously Jamar Chase is going nowhere because that's Joe Burrow's top target. So it's obviously got to be T. Higgins, bro. Either they trade him or they just gonna let him walk. But I would hope they would trade him if for their sake, so they can get something out of it.
Wide receiver one money, he might have to find it somewhere else. It feels like a difficult proposition to expect.
Yeah, the Bengals are in a tough spot right now, bro.
Wide receivers money right now. Some of them inching toward that $30 million mark. That they'll be able to bring two of those guys into the mix. If T. Higgins is willing to take less, perhaps they can get it done. But this is still a long way to go for both players. You mentioned it. Higgins on the franchise tag and Chase on that fifth-year option.
Hawk, we heard Jeff just say that the team is very clearly prioritizing one receiver over the other and getting that business done. If you're T. Higgins in this situation, how do you go about letting it play out?
You get your mind settled on playing on a franchise tag for 1 year and upping your value as much as you possibly can, not only for your Cincinnati negotiation, but also for every other team.
And another thing, though, I feel like Cincinnati is only going to make it worse because if Higgins really just pops off this year, say he gets like over 1,500 yards receiving, that's gonna raise his value up, and if he gets like double-digit touchdowns as well, that's gonna raise the stakes up even higher for him, and the value is just gonna keep going up and going up and going up, and along with other receivers that have to get paid, Justin Jefferson's contract's coming up, CeeDee Lamb's contract's coming up, Amon-Ra St. Brown just got paid a couple weeks ago. You know, and A.J. Brown just got a new contract as well, makes him the highest paid receiver in the league. So I feel like they should go ahead and hurry up and re-sign him before the other receivers get their contracts as well, because it's gonna be ugly. It is going to be ugly for them.
He played 12 games last season, and it wasn't putting his best foot forward going into free agency. Well, if the Cincinnati Bengals have planted their flag in the ground to say we have to worry about Jamar Chase first before we can talk about giving you number one receiver money, use this to your advantage. You still have Joe Burrow, who is one of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Yep,
if you are
top
looking
three
to do
for
a
sure.
career year to set yourself up for free agency leverage, he is the guy to be playing with. Use this year to your advantage, and then the world is your oyster.
Hey man, what do you guys think about all that? Y'all let me know down in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Turn on my post notification, get notified whenever I drop another banger video. And without further ado, I'm out. Gang!